And within a few mutual hangouts, Lou asked Al, if I asked you out on a date, would you go? And Al said yes, but you have to ask. And the very next morning, Lou asked Al on that date in 6 years. A ring and a dog later, here we are in the backyard of the house that they bought together. So to get us going this evening, we're gonna have Allison's brother, Chris.
What did you always want to do, but your mom would never let you do to your sibling?
I think physical altercations.
And Elon, Kenneth Medina's mom, also Louis's sister, Susan, come do a reading from The Alchemist. Here you go, Chris. And Susan.
When he looked into her eyes, he learned the most important part of the language that all the world spoke, the language that everyone on earth was capable of understanding in their heart. It was love. Something older than humanity, more ancient than the desert. What the boy felt at that moment was that he was in the presence of the only woman in his life, and that, with no need for words, she recognized the same thing.
Because when you know the language, it's easy to understand that someone in the world awaits you, whether it's in the middle of the desert or in some great city. When two such people encounter each other, the past and the future become unimportant. There is only that moment and the incredible certainty that everything under the sun has been written by one hand only. It is the hand that evokes love and creates a twin soul for every person in the world. Without such love, one's dreams would have no meaning.
Thank you, Chris and Susan. So Al and Lou have prepared a few words for each other, and they're going to go ahead and exchange those now. Louis is going to get us started.
That lead off. Well, Hannah, you hit the nail on the head. We met in 2014. I was invited to a birthday party for this girl. As Hannah correctly said, I was in it. I wasn't terribly interested in celebrating a birthday. I was in it for big eats and free booze. But I get there and something caught my eye. Besides Paige's excellent cooking, the girl caught my eye. Later in the summer, there was a 4th of July gathering. I heard you're going to be there. And I did what any 25-year-old bro does. I did about 100 curls. I found my smallest, tightest muscle shirt. Spent about an hour in front of the mirror trying to cover up this forehead. And I was ready to roll. I get there 30 minutes in. Al says she's leaving to go meet her father in Wyoming to swap cars. So, over 2. That was it. Eventually, developed the courage, like Hannah said, and here we are. I have described our relationship. We're good. I have described our relationship from a book I read recently, Anti-Fragile. My definition of that is in times of adversity, in times of volatility, things that are fragile fall apart. Things that are durable, they hang in there. Things that are anti-fragile, they get stronger. That's us. It's been a very interesting 6 months. Whether it's been our sweet little Lucy girl, whether it's been regular normal life, bills, whether it's been weathering an international pandemic. Worst of all, whether it's weathering a 4-8 Tennessee football season. We hang in there. We get things done, and together, we are strong. When I think of us, you and I could go through the gates of hell, and we're going to come out the other side together. Wow. This was unexpected. This was not part of the plan. You're the sweetest, most precious thing in my life. And you kick my butt every day to be a better man. And promises I can do is be there for you at all times. And try and be a better man, better than the day before. I can't promise you a Maserati, I can't promise you a mansion, but I can promise you the love the size of a mansion. I remember being a kid and my father was trying to explain the love he had for his family. And he described it as something that he couldn't explain. Words couldn't explain it. And it was something that when you're making decisions, it's not about you, it's about your family. And I didn't know what he meant at the time. I was just a kid. But 20 years later, here we are. And I can't put it into words, but I finally get what he's saying. The point he was making was his family was his life. And Al, Pumpkin, you are my life. Without you, I am nothing. And as our old friend Winnie the Pooh says, if you live to be 100, I want to live to be 100 minus one day, so I never have to live one day without you. I told you this a long time ago, and I think it rings true today. It's a weird, crazy world. But I have you. Nothing else matters. Let's stick together, you and me.
That's good. Okay, you guys have to stand close so you can pick me up. Louis Michael Barnett, you are my heart. I love you so much. Who would have thought this girl from small town Oregon would meet this wonderful man from big city Virginia who happened to crash her birthday and meet her mom in Denver, Colorado. Fast forward 6 years of knowing each other, 4 years of dating, and almost 2 years of being engaged. And here we are in our backyard with our sweet pup, surrounded by our family and friends, and we're getting married. It's been an adventure, and it's an adventure I only want to do with you. Thank you for showing me your heart. Thank you, Janet and Kenny, for raising this incredible and thoughtful man to be my husband. Thank you for making me feel safe. Thank you for being ridiculous and know how to make me laugh. Thank you for letting me not be a cowgirl and cry, even though I know you hate it. Thank you for being good to my family and loving them as much as you love yours. Thank you for being the best dog dad to Lucy. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for holding my hand when we go for walks. Thank you for sitting outside and enjoying the evenings with me. And thank you for being none other than perfectly you. I promise to always be by your side and cheer for the University of Tennessee, even if it's a shutout. I promise to always compliment your big muscles and your full head of hair.
How's the hairline?
My hair looks great.
A lot of effort put in this hairline. A lot of timing of the road here.
I promise to listen to your old man podcast rants and not roll my eyes too much. I promise to hold your hand and squeeze it a little tighter, especially when we get bad Lucy news. I promise to listen with my ears and respond with my heart through the good and the bad. And I promise to always be true to you in my thoughts, words, and actions. I promise that you'll always have my heart. So the Sunday before I left for Colorado, I was sitting in church, and our high school priest, Father Dave, was substituting for the Cottage Grove priest. And Father Dave was very beloved at Marist. And this is always something that will echo through. He shared the 4 components to live a good life. To love, to be loved, to do good things, and to be worthwhile. We share a good life together, so let's stick together, you and me. I love you.
So wedding rings are a symbol of commitment and love. The rings are circular, there is no beginning and there is no end. They represent the summer you met 6 years ago and the summer 77 years from now when you two are rocking on some front porch swing and you're reminiscing on this summer, the summer of 2020 when you said we do. These rings are solid and they are sturdy and they are built to survive years and years of paddle boarding and dishes and bourbon and neighborhood walks with Lucy, long road trips and bike rides, big gym sessions, college football Saturdays, and every good thing that this world will surely bring to you too. Lewis, please present your ring to Allison. Lewis, go ahead and slide it on her finger. Do you take Allison to be your wife through Tennessee football wins and losses, through beautiful sunny Sunday drives and icy mountain ones, through messy sticky floors and freshly Swiffered ones to love and to cherish and to grow with for all the days of your life?
I do.
And Al. There we go. Please present your ring to Lewis. Allison, do you take Lewis to be your husband through college football highs and lows? Seems to be a big trend with you two. Through fun Lucy strolls and hot yard work afternoons, through the good life together and the pandemics, to love and to cherish and to grow with for all the days of your life?
I do.
I'm going to step aside for a really good picture because this Jewish girl is a registered minister. And I now pronounce you two husband and wife, and Lou, you can finally kiss your bride. All right, guys, so before we get this party started, we're going to have Lewis's mom, Janet, present Al and Lou with Kenny's prayer shawl, his talit. Hold on one second, Jan. Though Kenny is not here with us today in person, he is most definitely watching over his son and his daughter-in-law. Kenny was a giant of a man. He was ahead of his time. He had a big heart and a big love for sports and for donuts and for marching bands, and his little boy Lewis could do absolutely nothing wrong. Kenny especially loved his family, and he would be so, so incredibly honored and proud to welcome you, Allison, and your family into ours. So Janet, come on up, and you two just turn and face the crowd, and Janet, you can wrap the talit around them. Just hold by. All right, so to close out this ceremony, I'm going to have, thank you, Susan. Close out this ceremony, Al and Lou are going to break this glass. And there's a couple different theories to why couples break glass at weddings. But the mystical theory is that the soul is split into two before birth. And there is this constant magnetic draw driving this divided soul back together. So the breaking of the glass simply symbolizes that Lou and Al, though separated in their physical being, are in fact one and the same. And this meaning is especially fitting for Allison and Lewis because despite being from completely opposite ends of the country, carrying on with different lives and different loves and different religions and different universities, through all the ruckus that is life, these two somehow managed to find their way to each other. So when they step on this glass, we're all going to yell Mazel Tov, and that will be the close of the ceremony. So Lou and Al, you go ahead and go for it.
Oh, oh no. It's a little hard.
Lou, you go for it.
Go for it.
I haven't done
Do it
squats
for
in a while.
us.
Mazel Tov! Woo!
Lewis's lovely mother, Janet, and his sister Susan, I would like to welcome each and every one of you this evening to what a lovely occasion. And I think the one thing I want to share with you, everybody's been so gracious and warm. I mean, you just encompassed all of us. I mean, there's just been nothing but a positive vibe throughout the whole of, I'm probably not talking to the mic at all, but just the closeness has been incredible. Everybody's been so warm, gracious, welcoming. It's been incredible. So I can't top anything that's already been said by either Hannah, you did a marvelous job. I cannot top what you said. I can't top what both Lewis and Allison put together as far as their vows, but I want to share one small story with you. Allison and I left the driveway of our home in June of 2014. And from Cottage Grove to Denver, Colorado, it's a little over 1,400 miles. So we knew we were going to have to stop part way. You know, there was no way to make the drive in one day. And so I drove the whole way the first day, and we stayed in Burley, Idaho. I don't know how many of you might know Burley, but Burley's the last place you're going to get a motel unless you want to drive another 200 miles and get down into Utah. So anyway, Allison goes, you know, Dad, I'm going to help you out with the driving. And I go, okay, well, let me get us into Wyoming. I'll get us gassed up. After we get gas, I'm going to have you take over and you can drive for a while. So we do that. Allison gets behind the wheel of the car. 40 miles later, Dad, I can hardly keep my eyes open. Do you think it's possible that I could pull over and you could take us the rest of the way? So that was our drive out to Denver. And her stay was going to be for 6 months with Campus Speak. And so, you know, she goes, you know, Dad, Denver's an awful long ways from Cottage Grove. And I go, yeah, that's right, Allison. There's a reason for that. It's not like you can hop on the bus and be home in an hour or anything like that. So to see where everything's come full circle over the course of the last 6 years is just incredible. One of the stories that normally I'll share, which is numerous, Richie knows that as a first-time recipient, you never know who you're going to meet in life, and you never know the impact that meeting's going to have. So I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. You've made a tremendous impact, not only on my daughter, but on the rest of us as well. Thank you very much.
So, you know what a mom's best gift is? This mom's best gift? Allison. All these years, I've often wondered who my son was going to marry. And I tell you, I wanted him to get a beautiful, smart, dignified, kind, full of heart wife. And guess what? He got one, and I got one of the best daughter-in-laws I could ever have met. The best daughter-in-law. Thank you. Let me just say, the Boyces and the Barnetts have bonded. And listen, Lewis and Allison, you need to know that during this whole thing, starting back in January, February, March, Paige and I were texting behind her back a little. Well, I don't think they should do that. No, neither do I. But we kept it on the down low. And I knew we were two moms that just were behind our kids no matter what. I was a little flustered when Paige asked me to send some wood from Lewis's favorite tree in our yard. And I was thinking, did my little boy have a favorite tree? Well, maybe a piece of wood, because one of their neighbors wanted to make a cake platter. So I went upstairs in Lewis's room, and the only thing I could find was his fraternity paddle, Matt and Mike and Dylan. And then he made this thing in like 8th grade, this basketball hoop thing. And Paige said, well, do you think he'd mind if you took wood out of it? And I said, I don't think so. But that little idea died on the vine. Which is probably right, because now Lewis has a favorite tree from back here in his beautiful yard. So I could just go on and on about how happy and thrilled I am, but we have a lot more to do this evening. I'm so honored that all of you came. I thank the Boyces for a beautiful wedding for our children. And I'll just say thank you again, and love you, and stay safe, everyone, and have a fun time tonight.
Greg.
Okay, good.
All right. Ready? Good, good, good. Thank you. Hey, sweet Lou. What a wonderful day this is. Lewis has married his sweetheart Allison, and we are honored and thrilled to be a part of this simcha, a happy occasion. We know Allison was a member of 4-H, so in honor of her, I'd like to use a few H words to describe Lewis. Of course, we could apply heart and health, but there are a few others that come to mind. Honesty. Lewis is an honest man. He is trustworthy. When he was a little boy and extra prizes came out of the vending machine, he gave the extra prizes back to the manager. I never understood that. But that's my boy. He performs many honorable tasks in his everyday life. From his days growing up and working with learning differences children in the Alexandria Recreation Department to his current activities here in Colorado, we should all be more like Lewis. Humble. Lewis is extremely humble. He is a lawyer, an accomplished athlete, kind and compassionate. You know, he calls his grandmother Toot, his babysitter Clara, on a regular basis. Yet he doesn't seek admiration and is simply a quiet professional and a leader. Humorous. Lewis has an exceptional sense of humor. Quick-minded, quick-witted, he makes us laugh during every conversation and has an extraordinary way to be positive in any situation. History. Lewis is a true lover of all history, but I think especially American history. A U.S. battleground or Civil War book is a welcome visit for him, so I wasn't surprised to see a copy of the Constitution of the United States in my goodie bag. Only you, sweet Lou. And finally, handsome. We all have to admit, Lewis is a handsome fellow. Not to mention those abs and those biceps. To take a quote from his namesake and grandfather, Louis Safran. Louis Barnett is the finest. I know his father, Kenny, is proudly looking down tonight. And on behalf of both of his parents, Kenny and Janet, we are proud to welcome Allison and her family into our family. I know my sister is proud to call Allison my daughter-in-law. Lou, you did good. You have a beautiful bride in every way. So please raise your glass to Lewis and Allison, and as we like to say, Mazel Tov.
Cheers, Grant.
Some bridesmaids that want to say some things, so if you wouldn't mind, we're going to cheers at the end of all of it. We'll promise to keep it short and sweet. So I've known Allison since early elementary school. Back when we bonded over raising 4-H lambs and playing with American Girl dolls, long after it was the appropriate age to do so, our unconventional hobbies, they formed a friendship that has stood the test of time and tribulation. I could tell countless stories about Al, like the time that she made me lock a second-story window to keep the cougars out, or when she would make me do perimeter sweeps to look for intruders upon entering any dwelling. However, my best Allison memories are happening right now. There's a country song called Cowgirls Don't Cry. And growing up, we used to give Al a little bit of a hard time about not really being a cowgirl. However, if there was ever a time to break down, it would have been planning a wedding, canceling it, and then replanning it in the middle of a global pandemic. However, Allison has handled these curveballs with an unparalleled grace. It's a testament to her strength, and it's a testament to the strength of her and Lou's relationship. Al, thank you for all of the long distance phone calls, the walks around the lake when we're both home, your unwavering support throughout my entire life, and for including me on this beautiful day. For what it's worth, I think you have finally earned the status of cowgirl. Louis, thank you for loving Allison so well. Thank you for being her rock and for introducing her to the SEC. I could not have dreamed up a better partner for my best friend. In conclusion, go Beavs, and now go Bulls.
And then I met Allison at Marist High School in Eugene, Oregon. And my name is Sarah Jameson. I am Allison's high school friend as well as her Delta Gamma little sister. While I remember Allison's leadership on the sophomore girls retreat or her Spartan Rumble as a cheerleader, I specifically remember meeting Allison in Mrs. Patterson's pre-calculus math class, where neither of us did particularly well. Let's just say we have strengths in other areas. So off to Oregon State we went. Allison truly made me feel special my first few weeks on campus, so much so that I couldn't say no to joining her at Delta Gamma and eventually becoming her little sister. From there, we have so many memories, particularly starting at Salon 202 at the DG, which led to so many inside memories, such as "Welcome to Hawaii" and "Sweet Baby Square." I was also introduced to Allison's absolute lack of any sort of craft or artistic ability, which I hadn't abounded. Of course, I was introduced to summer with the Boyces, breads and spreads in Cottage Grove, as well as being introduced to the Lane County Fair. And I showed up to the Lane County Fair in full glam and gladiator sandals to a livestock showing. Embarrassing to say the least. Allison, you have showed me that big things are possible. Starting with running for leadership in DG, following by running for panel at council, and then most recently by moving out of state. You've always believed in the best in me, and so I was. You mean so much to me. You've always made me feel special as you're little. You've always been an inspiration to me, and you're a high achiever, and it's been fun to follow in your footsteps. You bring me comfort, and I know there's nothing we can't share, just like true sisters. Congratulations to Louis and Al. I wish you as many inside jokes, nights laughing, and a strong bond of friendship that carries you through the years, just as I have experienced with Allison. Love you.
And then I met Allison. My name is Casey, and I'm one of Allison's sorority sisters. Allison, I'm so unbelievably grateful that DG brought us together as Ruby's sophomore year. It was only the beginning of our friendship when I studied abroad, and to be honest, I think distance made our hearts grow fonder. You were so busy doing amazing things in the OSU and Greek life community, and yet you still managed to sit down and write long emails about life, keeping me up to speed about the Deej and all the incredible things you were up to. Those emails were home to me when I was so far away. You've always made our friendship a priority through all of the distance, no matter where we are, Corvallis, South America, Cottage Grove, Portland, Denver, Tucson. I know I can count on you. You inspire me, Allison. You are unlike anybody I've ever met before. I remember getting to know your personality in college, so kind and bubbly, a little sassy as well as driven, determined, and committed to anything you set your heart and mind to. Constantly up to really amazing things, and maybe a little trouble too. Al, when I think of you, the word grace comes to mind. In all or most of the things you do, you handle it with grace. I say most because Al slightly tore her meniscus junior year before a Memorial Day girls' weekend trip. And to be honest, it was one of the most least graceful things I've ever seen in my life, having you take those stairs at BG. I think I have a picture to prove it. But when I say grace, I mean there's an ease, a confidence, a poised, gentle way that you interact with your world that is so nurturing and supportive. I'm sure Lewis could agree. So, Lewis, if Allison's friendship has any sort of representation for how she will be as a wife and a partner, you are one lucky guy. I look forward to getting to know you and all the memories I'm sure we will all get to make together. I wish you both the very best marriage, full of love, laughter, adventures, and grace. I wish you both to have patience and always remember to turn towards each other in times of challenge. I hope you always cherish the little moments and communicate the ways you appreciate each other. Remember not to take life too seriously, and be sure to have F-U-N! Allison's my favorite way to say fun. Congratulations to you both on this beautiful commitment that we finally get to celebrate. Love you guys.
And then I met Allison. I met her in my DG sophomore year at Oregon State University. I'm Alex Scott for all those I don't know. But Al Pal, you are someone who came into my life, and I honestly don't remember what my life was like without you in it. When I look back at our friendship over the years, I think of many late nights made up of dancing, laughing at really stupid YouTube videos, and having long talks about boys and our futures. Pal, not only have you brought so much light into my life, but you are someone who I'm constantly looking up to. The way you hold yourself through easy times and bad is exactly the way I want to present myself. Even though you are not my big sister in the house and I'm the oldest in my family, you truly are an older sister symbol to me. I love you so much. Oh, okay. Now, Lewis, I am beyond grateful Allison found someone like you. You are someone who challenges her and yet also is her biggest cheerleader. Thank you for being so amazing to our girl, and I'm so excited to have you in our life. Kind of to wrap things up for me, short and sweet to the point, Al and Lou, thank you for including me in your very special, beautiful day. I am so excited for you both, and I cannot wait to see what your future holds. Love you.
Gosh, guys, those are really hard to follow. But then I met Allison. So lucky. Right, so I got to meet Allison at St. Jude. So I am so honored and privileged to call Allison not only my coworker, but my dear, 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 dear friend. And I'm so lucky to have you in my life. So I first met Allison during the interview process at St. Jude. So kind of how we do is everybody gets a little bit of time with them. And so Allison walks into my office. She's got her cute little anchor sweater. She comes in and she's like, we start with small talk of like, oh, where are you from? What did you do before this? And then we quickly found out that she lived in Cap Hill. I was like, oh my gosh, like how do you deal with that parking? You guys all know from Denver, like it's not fun, right? So Allison and I were able to joke about it. And I knew right away that we had a bond and that she instantly had my vote, of course. So then once Al was hired at St. Jude, we spent a lot of time together. So whether it was at St. Jude events or, catching up about the latest reality show that we watched or getting the puppies together, you name it, or working a late St. Jude event, we spent a lot of time together. And so I am so fortunate to have spent that time with her. But one of my favorite memories with Allison is we actually got to travel to Jackson Hole this past summer together. And so we were the lucky ones that got to drive there, put on the event, and then drive back. So it's a lot of time with anybody, right? Good and bad. But Allison is the type of person that you want to be with during all of that. So on our way home, I'm just going to set the scene for you guys. So it's two girls. We're exhausted. We just put on a successful event, had a lot of time together, everything went well, but we were ready to go home. And so we load up the car, and we have about 8 hours ahead of us, right? It's a fun trip. And so we did all of the BuzzFeed quiz that you can imagine. We listened to anything from Taylor Swift, classic, to Ja Rule, to Beyonce, but then we got a little weird. We go into some Papa Roach, classic, right? As you can imagine, Allison jamming out to some Papa Roach or Blink-182 and some of that stuff. But I cherished every minute that I got to spend with Allison that day. And I'm so lucky to have the best co-pilot, right? Again, not everybody that you can do an 8-hour car ride and not get sick of or annoyed or anything like that. It was so much fun. And so I'm just so grateful for you, Al. I feel like you were put into my life for a reason, and I'm so grateful for our friendship. You have the biggest heart, and you bring so much positive chi to my life. And Lo, I have so much enjoyed getting to know you over the years. You have, the same size heart as Allison. You love her and you care for her so much. But I need you to promise a couple things to me. So number one, you always have to watch TSK on Tuesdays. Alex or no Alex. It's a reality show if you guys like. Check it out. Number two, you can't bet on the Dushan Bears because you can't count on them. They're not reliable. Lesson learned very quick. And number three, you always, always, always have to take care of my best co-pilot in the entire world. But with those three things, I know you have the best bride and vice versa. So we are just so grateful for you guys. Congrats. But I'm not going to end it here. So I have a final speech for you guys that we're going to watch right over here.
Hi everyone, my name is Macy. I couldn't be there today, but I am the long distance maid of honor. So I met Allison unofficially at Lambda Chi, our sophomore year of college. I had just joined DG, I didn't really know anyone, and was in a room with a couple of the people. And in walks Al. She raises her glass, the girl next to me, and says, "To homies and good times." And I thought, that girl, I have to meet that girl. So we met a few weeks later and shared some of my best college times with her. But really my favorite memories of Al is when I moved to Denver, and a few weeks later she saved me and I moved into her house. That wasn't the first time or the last time that I would call my mom and say, thank God for Al. And the year we lived together was the absolute best. We would laugh until we cried every single day. We'd go on walks for hours and lounge on the porch all summer long. And then every few months, Paige would show up and cook a meal for 50 to feed us until her next visit. What I admire so much about Al is that she's the most truest to herself person I've ever met, even when it's easy not to be. I don't know any 20-something-year-old who sets up a full themed table setting, who wears white pants to a football game, or who rocks a bob like my girl Al. She holds a grudge for anyone who has wronged me long after I've already forgotten. You can tell her absolutely anything with zero judgment, and I wouldn't be surprised if she'd get into a fist fight to defend the people that she really loves. She accepts people exactly how they come, even if they're different from her, and everyone who meets her loves her. Al, you're my best friend, and we are all incredibly lucky to have you. So one day during our porch happy hour comes Lewis and his friend Bruno. And I thought, who is this guy spouting out nonsense words saying, I am who I am, over and over again on our front porch, which soon became me and Al's new catchphrase. But Lou started coming around, and we quickly bonded over credit card strategies and discussing his odd outfit choices. And I realized Al had met her match. Lou, you are patient and understanding and kind, and you're one lucky guy to have a one-of-a-kind girl like Al. I wish I could be there today to celebrate you two, but I love you guys, and I can't wait to see you soon. So with that, let's raise a glass to Al and Lou and to homies and good times.
What you filming now?
We buzzing, baby.